Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. This one is the Elite Varos. This is the latest speed bow. When I say speed bow, it's not that fast from Elite, right? So 32 inches axle to axle. This is the Omnia. So this was 2025. This is 2025. This is 2026. That's correct, right? So what's the difference between these two bows? Look, the speed's going to be about the same at 338 feet per second. A brace height of almost 7 inches, okay, 6 5/8. Draw length will be adjustable. I'll just grab it on the chart from 25.5 to 31. It'll be the same on both bows. The weight is 4.55, same on both bows. So what's changed between the bows? Okay, so the first thing is these little mounts here. So you can fit a bow sling to these little mounts. You can fit an Elite pod to stand up the bow to those mounts. That does not feature on the Omnia. You've got a yoke system now, which Elite started to fit to their bows. It's got micro adjustments, so you can change the length of the cables for timing the wheels. Now, I don't think that's a thing, because I think the cables are so good today that you don't need it. Back in the old days, it was a good thing, but anyway, that's what the adjustment is here for, basically, so you can move the cables up and down. You don't need a bow press. So yoke system on the new one, no yoke on this. So this is a tri-track wheel, and you can have the option of a limb stop on this, and that's what those big things are here. Now that doesn't exist on this bow because it's got yokes. As soon as you go yokes, you can't go to a limb stop. You can see the machining on the risers are a little bit different, so you can see a lot more cross weaving here versus here there's lots more open gaps. I think the new one looks a bit fancier, a lot more machining in there, looks a bit nicer. So let's go through the new bow. Okay, so the first thing is the new bow is going to be more expensive. Okay, so when you're looking at a new bow versus the old, you'll often get the old bows on special because shops are clearing them out. So you've got to go, what do I want? Do I want the latest, or am I happy with the old model? Now, for me, the yokes, the concept of yoke is it balances the pull on the limbs here, right? So that way this cam pulls back straight. But the Elite system has got a tuning system here which tilts the limbs, which keeps this straight anyway. So I don't know if it's adding much. Look, it's a thing. It's, you're not going to shoot any more accurate with this system. There's going to be some people who didn't like the tri-string system because one string's too close to the cam. We're here, the cable's away from the cam, okay? So for the people who had the problems, I understand. You have a roller cable slide here, which is good. It's adjustable. I don't adjust it. I like the machining here. Now, the way Elite do their paint finishes, this is kind of baked into the riser, so it's very hard wearing. It's not like some of the manufacturers who just use hydro dip, because that will wear off. This doesn't tend to wear off. Limb locking here, so you lock the limbs in place. That's good. The tuning system, which is you unlock it here and then you can adjust it from the side to do paper tuning. Look, it's pretty good. It's arguably as good as anything I've used. The Bowtech system moves the cam left to right, which is very good. But this, you do it, you do a tune in seconds. You don't have to shim the cams, you don't need a bow press. This is awesome, right? Now, lots of companies now have tuning systems on their bows, and even Hoyt has a tuning system on their bows. So while Elite was really leading the pack with this, I still think it's really good because it's seconds, literally seconds to tune. The grip, what I like about the Elite grips, it's got this little edge here, which one of my friends didn't like because he puts his finger up over this ledge. But I like it because when I hold my hand, you can see my finger comes right up next to that ledge. I like that. This grip is tapered in here, so it tapers. It means I get the same grip every time. Okay, so some grips, it's very hard for you to get your hand in the same spot each time. If you don't get your hand in the same spot each time, you're going to shoot a different shot each time. So some people will say, well, I'm struggling shooting, or sometimes I shoot left, sometimes I shoot right. It's probably to do with your grip. Grip is one of the biggest problems you're going to ever have, right? So, and even if you're a pro shooter, grip is still a thing, right? It's not that I've been shooting for 5 years, I'm a great shot. Chances are you're not a great shot, and I'm not having a go at you. But like for me, I've been shooting 40 odd years. It's still a thing, right? It's still a thing for me. I shoot every day. Chances are you don't shoot every day. Like if you're shooting 300 indoor rounds, well, grip's not a thing for you because your grip's perfect. But like for me, one shot out of 30, if I got my grip wrong, well, there's 1 point gone, right? So anyway, grip's important. I find the Elite grip probably the best on the market for me, right? So feel the grips. Some people are going to like the feel of the Hoyt hunting grip because it kind of molds into your hand, but then you might not shoot as well with it because you get different pressure points. So while it feels nice, because it kind of molds into your hand, you're not getting the same grip each time, you're getting different torquing points and you won't shoot as well. So I really like this, I shoot well with it. It's got multiple sight holes here, positions, two Allen keys here. The rotating modules are excellent. You've got all the adjustment in the world. The valley is adjusted here. At the moment it's on maximum valley. You move this forward to reduce the valley. Reducing the valley also reduces the length a little bit because let's say the valley's this long and you're shortening it, you're making it that long, so you're also shortening your draw length. So bear that in mind. I like the little edge on the edge of the draw stop because it's going to stop the string from pulling off to the side, which is a common issue on lots of bows. I like the bearings, I like the limbs. It is, when I say it's rare, it is really, really rare to have an Elite limb replaced. And I've got one guy who's done 2 sets of limbs, right? But it's really rare. And when I say it's really rare, I've got one guy who's done 2 sets. I've had not one Elite, not one set of limbs I've had to replace in my state. So I'm going to say 60% of all Elites I sell are in my state. I've never replaced a limb in my state. So generally when I'm replacing limbs on any bow, the cracks will be under here, and that's compression cracks. And what you'll generally find is people are fitting strings, custom strings to their bow, and people overpress it. I know they're going to say they don't. In here, that's a compression crack. It's like they press the bows too much. On the outside, temperature crack. You've left the bow in a hot car or on a bonnet of a car, and on the edge, you bumped it. Okay, so look, limbs are pretty good. I've got bows upstairs that are 20 years old and they're fine, right? So just be careful when you press bows. Look, the strings on this bow are winner's choice. They're excellent. So when you're thinking about fitting your mate's strings, and I feel like I'm having a go at this guy, look, they're good strings. I have no concept of why you're doing stuff that you do as a customer, because these are great. These are great. If you want to fit gas strings because you want a custom color, gas strings are going to cost $200 in Australia. Look, it's $200, then they're probably going to charge you $30 to fit it. Now, fitting strings to an Elite bow is fantastic. I love it. When I say I love it, some bows are really hard to fit strings to, i.e. Matthews. I'm going to say I'll probably do an Elite string set in 10 minutes. Now, that's not including the peep. Sometimes your peep will create rotation issues, and people want to change the height of their peep, and you'll be with them for an hour doing their peep sight, right? So when I go, well, I'm going to charge $30 to fit a set of strings, well, I'm not going to charge $30 if I'm going to be with you an hour, okay? So I probably won't charge anything, but I would like to charge more than $30 if I'm going to be with you for an hour, and I generally am, okay? So Right, so where else are we at? Comes with this little dampener here. Now if you're fitting stabilizer, you can move this up there. It's just a thing to reduce torque, well, reduce noise and vibration. That's all this is. Because if you didn't have it, you'd feel more torque and more vibration. We're going to shoot a shot. I haven't pulled back this bow yet. I haven't shot it yet. This is straight out the box. The other thing, Picatinny mount here. That's new. It wasn't in the Omnia thing. Picatinny things for me, it wasn't a thing because I was like, well, why would you want that? Why wouldn't you just use a standard sight? More and more people are going to Picatinny now. Here, what's the reason? Reduce weight a little bit, I guess. Some people say it reduces the balance on this side. Well, it's not really a thing. You can't feel it. But Picatinny things are really common. I sell as many Picatinny sights now as bolt-on sights, which is amazing. All right. So I like the finish on the Elites. They're good. I don't know about this. Like it's fine. Now if you're going to choose a straight color, they generally like this baked on finish called Cerakote, I think. They're really hardy. They also do the bow now in the paints, which is the red, which is extremely popular. Raspberry, less so popular, but the red is crazy popular. So, alright, let's make a shot. Like I said, I haven't shot a single shot, so I don't know where the arrow's going to go. Right, so that feels crazy easy. This bow's actually wound down a bit, which is interesting. So it drops into the valley. No vibration when you shoot. So when the bow drops into the valley, to reduce that drop off, this has got performance mods on it. So that means you're going to get 5 feet per second extra speed. To go to smooth mods, you'll get less of a drop off, so it'll be smoother into the valley. By moving the valley forward, by reducing the size of the valley, you'll feel less drop off. But the smooth to the performance, as I said, 5 feet per second. I prefer the smooth because that drop off, I like to control the pulling back. Some people just yank it back. I tend to do it more controlled, and hence when I'm hitting that valley, like it's nice. Feels really nice. The problem is when it comes to choosing a bow. There are so many good bows on the market today by all the manufacturers. They're really, really good. And even if you just go, look, Elite bows, they're all really, really good. It's not that they produce a crap bow, because they don't. They're all, how do you pick the difference? Yeah, so how do you pick the difference? Right, so this bow is almost a 7-inch brace height. That's where we're going to start. So if you choose a faster bow like your PSC, which is almost a 350 feet per second, they're reducing that brace height to 5 inches. So you've got 2 inches. So instead of it being there, it's there, right? So what does this affect? It affects how twitchy the bow is when you aim. it means you're pulling the bow back an extra 2 inches, so you've got 2 inches more power in the stroke. So it means you're working more. And like, so for 30 meters, it's probably not going to make a difference, but for longer shots, like 50 meters, it's going to be easier to aim with a longer brace height. Okay, so I've got a full throttle, which is 5-inch brace height. Look, I can shoot that thing amazing, but sometimes I shoot it, some arrows are less than average. Okay, so I generally prefer bows with longer brace heights today. And okay, so you're giving up, this is 338, let's say your PSE is 348, 10 feet per second. 10 feet per second. You can pick that up with arrow speed. Now you can't pick up raw power. So if you're looking for hitting power, you know, and you're shooting a heavier arrow, well, that means you've got to drop, you'd have to increase the bow by 2 pounds. 2 pounds, I think, to get an extra 10 feet per second. And my other thing is that with a bow with a bigger brace height, you can shoot a lighter spined arrow than one with a shorter brace height because you've got more power. So it's, while it sounds good that you've got a 350 feet per second bow, and this is not me crapping on PSE, what I'm saying is you get nothing for nothing. You don't go, well, I've got a faster bow. Well, yeah, but you can get a faster bow with this just by going up 5 pounds, and it's probably going to feel just as easy to draw back, right? Because you're 2 inches shorter. Like, this feels crazy easy. Now, the thing with all the elites is all the grips feel the same. It used to be like back in the old days when I used to shoot PSE, all the grips felt the same, but the grips really do feel identical on all the elites. So if you go from elite to elite, a different model of an elite, it feels exactly the same. Your grip's going to be exactly the same. Used to be the case for PSE that all the grips were the same. It's no longer the case because they've got all different grips now. Same as Hoyt. Hoyt have all different grips. Their target bows are different to their hunting bows and grips. So yeah, I like this grip. It's now the Bowtech grips are all the same, so they're a different style of grip. So look, when I shoot, the bow just sits there in my hand. I don't know if I can get in the video, but it's very, very nice. It's not sore on my shoulder here. I thought it would be more aggressive on my shoulder, dumping into the valley. It's not, you can see the bow's, my hand's like, I'm not holding the bow, it's just relaxed. The bow just sits there. It's very good. It's very good. I don't know what my last review was. I think that bow was pretty good, but one of my last ones was a PSE Sicario with new FDS cams. That was a much quicker cam. I'm going to say I prefer this cam system. It's like got big cams. This feels smooth, but it does dump into the valley like most of the speed bows do. And I'd probably prefer the smooth mod where it doesn't drop in, but I feel very comfortable with it, like extremely comfortable. And when people go, do I spend $150 to get a smooth mod? That's a decision for you. I'm not either way, right? So originally when I brought my Verdict, it came with performance mods, then I fitted a smooth mod to it. I'm happy enough with that choice. Moving forward a year, I'm happy with that. With this, I think I feel fairly comfortable with this. It feels like 90% let off. Yes, it is. It's 90% let off. I would run it at around 70% let off for me, because I get back here, there's a lot of wind today. You can see the palms in the background, it's like heaps of wind, right? Now with 90% let off, means I get back here, means I'm holding 12 pounds. So 12 pounds, I'm going to move around a lot with 12 pounds. It means any contact with my face is going to be amplified with 12 pounds versus 15 or 20 pounds holding weight, right? So I think I'm going to get more accuracy, more consistency with a higher holding weight. The advantage of a low holding weight is you can just sit there all day and aim, which is really good for a hunting scenario, especially if the animal's moving or you're trying to get that right shot. You can just sit there all day, just wait for it to get in the right spot. So that's up for you to play around with. We're going to go back now to 18 meters. I'll sight it in for 18 meters and we'll see what sort of group I shoot. Okay, so I'm at 18. I've shot 2 arrows in the gold. One was low gold and one was out to the left gold, right height. So we're going to shoot the arrows now. So let's talk about bow weight. So there's a push at the moment for lighter weight bows. PSC carbon bows are like 3.6. There's the Truth bows. Bowtech's got the magnesium riser bow. So some people are going to say the Elite bow is a little bit heavy. And I would say, yes, they should have a lighter bow in their option. But bear in mind that when you're shooting, a heavier bow will be more stable, right? So you'll move around less. So you won't generally see target archers with very light bows. You generally won't see them with the lightweight carbon bows. They'll generally have heavy bows and lots of weights on the bow, right? Because it reduces how much they move. Now, if you're tracking around a forest, you don't want to carry lots of weight. So this is where things are a balance. If you're shooting long distance, you generally want a heavier bow, as long as you're strong enough to carry it, okay? It's no use being not very strong and stacking on lots of weight. So you've generally got to build up to lots of weight, okay? So like for me, if I was shooting target compound at the moment, I would start off with lighter weight because I'm not used to it at the moment because I've been shooting recurve, and I gradually build the weight up. Bearing in mind I don't want to hurt my back from the weight of holding up that bow. Okay, so with this is 4.5. Look, I find it comfortable. If I was tracking around the bush all day, well yeah, 3.5 might be preferable. I'd have to weigh that up. So how do I think I'll shoot with this? I think I'll shoot pretty good because it's got a bigger brace height. 32 inches is pretty good to shoot. I'm not shooting with a peep sight. Peep sight would make you more accurate because it makes sure you get your anchor point in the right spot all the time. I've got a CBE Trek sight. The reason I use this is because it's got an adjustment knob here that makes it really quick and easy for me to set up. It's got micro adjustment left and right, so it just makes my life quicker for doing these bow tests. I've got a cheap Whisker Biscuit. These are Pandarus Alpha XT arrows. They're about 70 bucks a dozen, right? They're fine. They're fine arrows, like I've shot great with them. So if you're watching, I'm going to say Thias shoot the new X10 parallel shafts and shoot a 30X, that's because he's a great shot. It's not so much to do with the arrows, okay? I'm going to say he could shoot 30Xs with pretty much any arrow. I'm not taking anything away from Easton, it's just he's a great archer. You put these arrows in a computer and get them to shoot, they'll shoot amazing. And just on that, I had a archer in Victoria shooting the new Pandarus arrows, and someone had a shooting machine who shoots Easton, and it said, oh, let's see those arrows through the shooting machine. At 50 meters, he could hit a 20-cent coin. So all the arrows were in that sort of size at 50 meters with a shooting machine. So it was like, well, it's as good as anything else, right? So, all right, let's see how we go. I'm going to say today there's a bit of wind, right? So in wind, less let off would be better because you're going to be more rigid in holding the weight. Heavier bow is better in wind, especially in wind, right? I'm going to say when it gets kicked off, it's slower to bring it back in the middle, but it's generally more stable. You move around less. So generally in wind, you're looking for heavier bows and less holding weight. I can't see where the arrows go, so I feel like the first ones are red. The shot felt good, like it all feels good. This gets in the way a bit because this rope's a bit long, but I did try and move it out the way. The problem with this is when I'm aiming, I'm trying to aim the pin, and then this bobs down in front of my eye, and then my eye suddenly starts to focus on this and I can't see the pin. Actually, we might move it the other way. Might move it down. I'm not making excuses, I'm just... Like, you want your vision to remain focused on the target. So much better. So much better. Right, I love roller cable slides because the cables aren't moving backwards and forwards. Makes the bow quieter. Some people get wear on these cables. I don't say I don't know. Like, I've reserved them using halo. There's different thicknesses of halo. There's thinner halo like 0.07, there's 14. I normally try with 14. And when I've reserved the centers, I've never had a problem since. So, I don't... And not everyone has the problem. So, like, I've never had a problem on my own bows. It's really interesting shooting in the wind because your brain's thinking, am I going to get pushed off the target? And you're getting ready to execute the shot. And you're thinking, am I going to get pushed off as I execute the shot? I'm not a great wind shooter. Generally, the good shooters will practice in the wind, so they become comfortable in it. I'm going to say I've never been a good enough archer to be in that level where I'm like, it's a windy day, I'm going to go and shoot in the wind. I'm not that good in normal conditions. So it's like I'm not going to put myself in the extreme conditions, which is going to bugger up my shooting. I was listening to a pro, and they said when they shoot in the wind, it takes them 2 weeks to get their form back because they basically have to punch off the shots. So they have to go back to the indoor range after a windy condition and just basically work on it all again. Well, I think I'm grouping and not in the middle, but I think that grouping. I also tend to shoot better when that valley, you know how it dumps off in the valley, which I spoke about. I generally shoot better when I have less than that dump, because when it dumps into the valley, it changes your sight pin. So it takes you a couple of seconds to get it back on. I generally shoot better with less letoff. This is all stuff you should experiment with. There are pro shooters who shoot 90% letoff and they shoot fantastic, and there's pro shooters who shoot 50% letoff and they shoot fantastic. So work out what works for you. I'm going to say what does work is practice. The more you practice, the better you'll get. I mean, one of the local archers here, won the Australian Nationals and stuff, and he said, like, I shoot 200 arrows a day. And he said, when I go to a world stage, they're shooting 800 arrows a day. And he goes, I've got to work. And I'm like, it's hard to get 200 arrows in. It's like, man, that is crazy. I'm happy shooting 30 to 60 arrows a day. And whenever I've had a partner, she's always complained. Always. So it's like, I'm just sitting there shooting arrows. It's like, and most times they're not even home. So no one to complain these days. All right. So the Varos is like the Omnia, right? So if you think you can tell the difference between this and the Omnia, you won't be able to, because the cams are the same. So you've really got to say, well, do I like this yoke system? Yeah, I do like the yoke system, because it's just like, it's a cool thing. I like the tuning system. Like, this is cool. I don't know if I'd ever use it. Piccadilly mount's cool. I like the bow. It's a really nice bow to shoot. So I'm going to say, with the other elite bows in the range, look at them and go, what brace height do I want? What speed do I want? What axle size do I want for what you're doing? So if you're more of a 3D archer, you might prefer the Exalt, which is 35 inches. That's what I would shoot for 3D. If I was more hunting, then I'm like thinking more of a bow like this, or I might even be thinking a 30-inch one, all right? So let's go and see how the arrows are. Well, I thought I shot like crap from back there. But when I come up here, it's actually a pretty... Like, the arrows are not bunched, right? They're not tied. I'm not getting Robin Hoods. I think like last video I shot Robin Hood. But there's a fair bit of wind. 90% let off. I'm a bit floppy with it. I reckon this bow with either the smooth mods with a 60% let off, I reckon I'd shoot it as well as my target bow. I really do. The sight pin was stable. I like the grip. I've shot short bows before and I've shot great with them. So I'm happy with this group in this wind. It's not too bad. The bow's very quiet. It's well built. The warranty, the backup service of Elite is excellent. I like the limb locking. So I like the tuning, I like limb locking, I like the finish, I like the grip. They're the important things for me. How does this bow compare in price compared to other bows on the market? Look, I think things have become very tight in the archery market. Before, there used to be a Hoyt for 2,000, the PSE was 900, and you'd go, do I want to spend the extra 1,000? But what's happened in the world, things have become really expensive. So the other day, my pipe, what's this got to do with anything? My pipe's got a little leak, and I'll show you a picture. It's got a little leak. And that pipe connects all my buildings, right? So basically, when I fix the pipe, all my water's out to all my buildings, right? So all my tenants are out of water until I fix the pipe. So I get a plumber out to fix the pipe. And I think, well, it's a fairly minor job, right? It's just a bit of PVC pipe. This is me underestimating things. Okay, so to fix the pipe was $950. So when I look at a bow like this for $2,000, I'm going, it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. Like, it's an amazing product. It's amazing quality. How you build this bow for $2,000 is incredible. However, I think I can remember when bows were $800, and they were pretty good. Not as good as like the $2,000 bows today, but they were pretty good. But things have all gone up in price. All right, so this is where I get stuck with pricing. So I'm like, when it comes to elite bows, and I'm not using Elite as the brand, but the best in the industry, you've got the carbon bows from PSE, which are going to be towards $3,000. You've got this bow, which is $2,000. You've really got to look at the weight of the bow, the brace height, adjustability. Has the bow got everything you like? Do you like the accessories that go on it? I like the Elite accessories. I think they're really high quality. They've got matching colors for the bow. So if you choose tan, you can get a matching tan quiver. You choose QE Verde, you can get a matching QE Verde quiver. Lots of manufacturers do not have that. So PSE does not have that. Okay, I think they've got black and charcoal now. And I think that really takes away from the brand. Because generally when you buy the bow, you want matching stabilizers. Elite's got matching stabilizers and they've got a matching quiver. Cool, right? It's expensive, but it's cool. So, and I'm going to say, if you buy an Elite, and I'm not picking on Elite, if you buy like this bow, it's going to be a great bow literally forever. It's not like you take a bow which was 3 years older, one of the Elites 3 years older, and go, that was a terrible bow. No, it wasn't. Bows have been great for about 10 years. I'm going to say maybe even longer, but 10-year period, it's been amazing. And they've got a fraction a little bit better. Like this is a little bit better than the one before, right? It's a little bit better. So when you buy this bow, it's probably going to last you until you go, well, I want to buy a new bow to get, just because I want to buy myself a toy. This is going to be a fantastic bow forever. So just make sure you pick the bow that you want. And I'm going to say there's not going to be a lot of difference. And yeah, so price point, I'm pretty happy with the price point. The cheaper bows like the PSE Decree, I'm going to pick because it's a magnesium riser, similar kind of bow with a yoke system, is let's say 1800 Australian. This is like 2000 Australian roughly. But this has got a tuning system, it's got limb locking, it's got a couple of other things. Maybe it's got some other things. It's got your matching accessories, which PC doesn't have. It's got the infusion in the metal, which PSE doesn't have. And I'm going, well, $200, roughly $200. I'd rather the $200. I'm not having a go at PSE. The Decree is a fantastic bow, but the tuning system is cool. Now, when I put it up against a Bowtech versus the Elite, as a consumer, you want to go, well, the Bowtech's got a cool tuning system, Elite's got a good tuning system. Which one do I prefer? Me, personally, I don't care because they're both good. I don't mind the Elite system, I don't mind the Bowtech system. They've both got limb locking, they're both pretty good. I think they both have, does Bowtech have matching quivers and colours? Check that out. I think the accessories are better on the Elite than the Bowtech. Bowtech is a very cool bow. So work out which grip you like, so feel the grip and go, yeah, look, I like that grip versus the other one. And also look at price, because sometimes you'll get one of these older bows on special and they're perfectly good, and it's hard to justify the extra for the current model. But overall, the Varos, based on price, quality, everything, is spot on the money. It's like, it's cheap enough compared to your carbon bows that you go, I don't know if I want to spend the extra for a carbon bow. There's really nothing in the market by Hoyt and Matthews where you go, well, that's a superior product at a cheaper price, because it's the way it is. So the pricing is about right, and it makes you think, like, do I want then the Exalt? Do I want which model then in the Elite range do I want? So I think the pricing is right, the quality is good. Now, delivery time on Elite, I'm going to say around 8 weeks. Now, I've been waiting longer for some red ones. They can't tell, well, for me, they can't tell me when it's going to be delivered. Just out of the blue, a shipment's ready. So I don't know if that's me. Maybe some people at Elite have got better, well, I'm going to say better salespeople. I don't know. This is what it's like for me. I place an order, and then out of the blue, they have 10 bows ready for me. Right? And I say 10 bows. Sometimes it's more. Sometimes they've got like 30 bows, and I'm like, well, why couldn't they send me some more 4 weeks ago? But anyway, that's just the way it generally is. The warranty, the Elite limbs tend not to be under a lot of pressure, so I generally don't get any warranty with them. The cams are pretty good. When I say pretty good, if you dry fire this bow, depending on your poundage, it's a 50-50 whether you're going to break the cams. That's the same pretty much in the industry. It's a bit of like, hopefully I'm okay. I've definitely had people dry fire them at 70 pounds and be fine, and I've definitely had people that dry fire them on 70 and need new cams. New cams are going to cost you about $400, $300, I think. Changing the strings is easy. It's one of my favorite bows to work on. Changing draw length, I'm going to say the PSE is easier to change the draw length on. That this is definitely there right next to it, but you've got more adjustability in draw length. You can go the fractions in between. And then you've got the valley thing, which I think is better because I've got so much valley that I can adjust it. So overall, as far as adjustability on the Elites, I saw other reviewers review this and say, well, the Elite doesn't have as much adjustability, and that's just crap, because it has so much adjustability because you can change anything on the bow. So I don't know if it's just you don't know how to adjust it or you just don't know the bow. But for me, the adjustability is probably the best on the industry. And I'm not going, well, it's better, you know, like I'm not doing a sales job for Elite. It's like PSE, the letoff has got 2 settings, 2 or 3. This is infinite. You've got Bowtech. You generally set it on the setting that you want. Matthews is module based, so it's a pain. Hoyt is 1-inch draw length adjustment. Ooh, that's horrible. Like, it's just a nightmare. Hard to sell. Like, if you want to sell a Hoyt, hard, because it's 1-inch adjustment. Really hard. So I think it's the most adjustable bow. The tuning is arguably one of the best on the market, if not the best. So I think it's a pretty good bow. So I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching. Bye.